Welcome back to our session, and this afternoon have now joined us Mr. Lucarellis, the Executive Director of the National Office Against Discrimination. Executive Director Trintafyllos Lucarellis was born in Athens 49 years ago and is of Greek and Italian nationality. He graduated in 1995 in Political Sciences, International Politics at the La Sapienza University of Rome. Currently, he is the Executive Director of UNAR, National Anti-Discrimination Office, and the Italian Equality Body member of the Equinet Network. He's the former head of the Technical Secretariat of the Department for Equal Opportunities and Youth Policies of the Italian government. In the recent past, he was also head of the External Relations and International Affairs of the Italian National Authority for Children. In the past, among others, he held positions in the Ministry of Agriculture as the Italian representative to the Executive Committee of the ECA, the European Commission on Agriculture of FAO, and in the Ministry of the Environment as the Director of the Observatory for European and International Affairs. For several years, he was a volunteer of the Italian Committee for UNICEF, and then became a member of the Board of Directors. And later he was the head of the Bureau and General Management. We shall now move on to the interview with the first question. So, Mr. Lucarellis, today our society still has to deal with fundamental issues such as gender discrimination. However, it often happens, especially in youth environments, that when dealing with these topics, there's the tendency to confuse these different aspects of gender discrimination. So our students thought about what could be a good description of this term. But in your opinion, Mr. Lucarellis, how would you define gender discrimination, and where would you say that it is predominantly based?
Yes, thank you. It's a very interesting and difficult question, of course. Here, talking about Europe, as you all know, we live in a patriarchy society where we still think that males have the power and women have to wait for men to decide, and so on and so forth. The political leadership and the power is in the hands of men, as well as social privileges, and we can see it every day, in every moment of our life, and in every context of the society. When interactions we understand that are founded on stereotypes. So women have to stay in a step back concerning men, and they have to wait for their turn to have a slice of power. Of course, this moment in all these decades never came. So we still are waiting that for the possibility for women to provide the whole potentiality that they have. And I'm afraid that as males will never permit voluntarily this thing to happen. So it will be of women, of girls, to conquer this their slice of freedom to be able to have a real role in our society.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lucarellis. Your words truly touch us, and as a group, we thought about what you just said, and we have this shared idea of what you just said. And for the next question, I shall move now on to my colleague, Alessandra Lana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Giuseppe. Thank you, Mr. Lucarellis, for being here today and your support in our initiative. And I really couldn't see anyone better than you to ask this question, especially taking inspiration from the words you just, your inspiring words you just told us. I think it's really fundamental to understand where gender equality comes from to tackle it. And so to ask you this question, why you believe gender equality roots from, and why is it still a prominent phenomenon also in our society in 2021?
Mainly, as I said, is of a society which was built for men. And we have found out that just a few things have changed. I can speak about my country, Italy, where till 30 years ago we had a law that foresaw the so-called crime of honor, where a man could kill his wife because the wife had a lover, for example, or decided to leave her house or any other thing. So this is something that we are unable right now to change. And an event like this one, your event of young people, it's really crucial for advancing this very important issue, and as well as all the work that women and girls are able to do on even politically for them to have the advancement of their rights. That is really important, because I repeat it, men, I'm not talking of course about me or you or Professor Thompson, of course, but men, it will be very difficult that they will renounce on their privileges and their power. There is a need of a bottom-up approach, even a political approach, to find a way to solve this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Lucarellis, for your answer. And now I would give the word to my colleague, Jana.
Thank you, Alessandra. Thank you, Director Lucarellis. The next question is the following. Social media are nowadays a way of expressing ourselves, but they have often been used as a tool to discriminate. These tools are mostly used by teenagers of our age, and such discriminations do influence the users in a negative way. In your opinion, what actions could be implemented to reduce, if not eliminate, detrimental behaviors such as cyberbullying and discrimination based on gender?
Thank you for your question. As you know, in Europe, but especially in Italy, more than half of the victims of social media hatred are women and girls. So this is really a very an urgency to do something, and I think that the diverse levels should do it, starting from the platforms that they have. They should understand that they have a crucial role in this. And it's not enough saying that they are private entrepreneurs, that freedom of expression. Of course, freedom of expression is very important, but hatred and violence is not possible to excuse them and transforming them in freedom of expression. In Italy, we have our constitutions that is very clear on that. So platforms have to work a lot and have to be pushed to make changes, as well as the international and national legislations that have to force platforms to regulate themselves and to eliminate this kind of hatred. The important thing that probably our society is not in the moment so concentrated on what is going on in the social platforms. And another very important issue is the artificial intelligence concerning human rights, concerning the possibility of excluding minorities and creating discrimination. This is a very, very important thing. And probably young people like you are much more capable to give us the right indication, because of course you are a generation that grew up with the social media.
Thank you. You bring up many relevant facts, and I'm sure that we could all benefit from your insight in the matter, from firms all the way down to us as members of the future generation. I will now pass the word on to my colleague, Mura.
Well, thank you. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you again, Director Lucarellis, for your participation, and would like to propose a final request. Taking into consideration all the improvements that have been made, such as, for example, at the Italian level, the parliamentary discussion on the bill against homophobia transphobia, and that will be made, such as the commitment of the United Nations within the 2030 on the inclusiveness and tolerance. What advice would you give to our generation to commit to building a more just and inclusive world?
Thank you for your question. Unfortunately, the bill against homo-lesbo-transphobia will be very difficult with this new government that will pass in the Senate. So I hope I will be. I'm not well informed, but I think that it will be very difficult. Concerning what you young people can do, I think you can do a lot, and I admire your energy. I admire the fact that you are you are positional, even with radical positions, and you put all your passion on issues which are very important, as the environment, the climate change, human rights, and you have this natural tendency on accepting diversity, on integrating. So I think that there is a lot you can do, and as I always say, political participation is key for that. And you have all the qualities and all the passion to be our leaders of the future. And this is not rhetoric. I think that this new generation is very competent and able to provide us the change we need. Thank you.
Thank you. That is a very interesting approach. And I will now pass the word to Giuseppe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Director Lucarellis, for your very, very important answers. We really appreciate your participation. And we now have a closing question. So we have seen that there is a gradual increase in LGBTQI+ inclusivity within politics, such as in the US politics and in certain parts of Europe in the recent years. For example, now Rachel Levine has become the first transgender woman to be elected into the United States Senate as Assistant Secretary of Health. And also here in Italy, we see that the Right Honorable Alessandra Mura is very prominent and influential within the parliament. So our concluding question is, do you feel that open-mindedness should be promoted within the context of lawmaking and politics? If so, how do we as a society go about this? How can we, through the political spectrum, can change the system and actually start building a fairer society, more open and more tolerable towards diversity?
Yes, with the political participation of young people, because as I said, you are naturally keen on accepting diversity, considering integration for all people. You don't have the stereotypes that elder people have, and you have the energy and the passion to do it. So, and Italy needs a lot your contribution, because you said on LGBTI matters. For example, I don't know if you know the ILGA Europe map that puts Italy in the 35th position on 49 European countries. So we have a lot to do. We have a long path ahead on these human rights questions. So only young people will help us to have a more progressive society on this issue and in other issues, as we said before.
Thank you very much, Director Lucarellis.